And what better way to wash down a delicious shaka than an ice-cold beer? The sun has gone down on Hanoi and Ta Hien Street has come to life.
If you really want to get up close and personal with the culture of a new city, in particular, the culture of the local people, you need to stroll the sidewalks, sit on a stool, and have a nice cold beer. And that's what I love about Ta Hien Street.
Meet Brett McDougall and Tan Vu, beer tour guides in Hanoi.
We better go over there and have a few local beer.
The two first bonded over a brew in 2005, only to find out that their fathers both fought on opposing sides of the Vietnam War.
So here was two boys, both born in 1974, really growing up in the 1980s, and I suppose you would say ideologically very opposed, but the first time we sat down over a cold beer and spoke with one another, we realised that our familial or our family values were very, very, very similar. And from that day on, we've become the very best of friends.
Now, joined together as friends and business partners, Brett and Tan run Hanoi Beer Tours.
That sauce over there is a Hang Pho beer. It's a billow and cooler. That was the first shop that's serving Hanoi beer. Hurry.
Teaching others the history of the city and Ta Hien Street through the stories of beer. A story that began in the late 1800s when the French opened up the city's first brewery.
The French brought the beer brewing culture to Vietnam. Before that, it was probably rice wine.
Yeah, before that, moonshine and a rice wine and medicine rice wine.
It was around 1890 the Hanoi beer brewing factory was first set up. So really, from that time on, the beer drinking culture really evolved rapidly. And it evolved through the workers after a hard day's work, wanting to have a nice cold beer to cool the body. And it was also to the curiosity. People wanted to see what Westerners were drinking.
But back then, beer was expensive, not for everyone. That was until the late 1950s, when finally a beer for the people was born.
Ta Hien Street really is famous for what Vietnamese would call beer hoi or fresh beer. Some Vietnamese would actually say it's instant beer, like the instant noodles. It's made quickly and it's sold quickly. The alcohol content traditionally was quite low, and that was because people wanted to consume it rapidly, and the cost of the beer was quite low.
As beer hoi grew in popularity, so did Ta Hien Street. Plastic stools and tables quickly lined the street. Cold beer was consumed as fast as it could be poured. You can still find the inexpensive brew around Hanoi, but on Ta Hien, you need to know where to look.
There is one remaining place, and you have to be in the know. So, when you come into this place, 25 cents a glass, cold, refreshing. Beer hoi used to be for the workers. The workers would come into the street after a long day of work, working really hard. They'd have a glass of beer hoi to cool the body down. For the local shop owners, it doesn't create enough money to sustain the business. So they'd rather sell the bottled beer, they'd rather focus on the food. But if you still want it, this is where you come to get it.
And as this beer street has evolved, so has Hanoi's beer culture.
And this is actually the greatest example of the evolution of beer in Vietnam. Ta Hien Street started with a beer hoi, moved to a lot of the mass-produced bottled beers, which people still love, but now you actually have the craft beer scene, which is exploding.
We use a Vietnamese ingredient to produce pho beer. With the choy? Yeah, why not?
Craft concoctions on a lively street exploding with the flavors of Vietnam.
And cheers!